Hi there, this is Jenny Fong, and I am doing a little video regarding how to dye with indigo for Hope Lab, and this is a little supplement so that I can help you kind of troubleshoot your indigo vat. You can always email me at jenny@modernshibori.com if you have any additional questions, but for right now I just want to show you how to dye with indigo and how to set up your vat. So the first thing that you can do, you receive this box, it might be a little backwards, but it's basically an indigo kit, and it's one of the really nice, easy kind of instant indigos. It's not natural indigo, it's probably synthetic, but it's not toxic. So if people ask you if it's natural indigo, it's probably synthetic. However, it gives some really great color, and what I wanted to do today is just show you how to set up your vat. So the things that you receive are some tools in the box, and then also three different things. So this is actually soda ash, which is a mineral salt. This is hydro, which is a color reducer, but it also actually works to aid in the dye uptake for indigo. And then this is indigo, and this is actually all you need for about 15 t-shirts. So looks just like this, and I'm just going to show you some best practices I use when I teach with this indigo to get the best color. So what I like to do is gather all my tools. So here on my little table I've got just a mason jar with a chopstick, stirring stick, could be any kind of stick. I've got some hot water too, and then also just a spoon and some scissors. So what I do first is I take the mason jar and I'll pour in some hot water. You can see this jar has been well used. So it's just water in here right now. And I will take the white powders. I'm going to put them in one at a time into the water and have them dissolve. Okay, so soda ash goes in first, and I'm just right now pouring this in. And then behind me, I'll show you my other part of my setup. Behind me I actually have two buckets of water, two 5-gallon buckets. It can be, for the dyeing itself, I do like to use a 5-gallon bucket. You can see here the powder's in there, and I'm just gonna stir it up so it really just kind of dissolves in the water there. Another jar full of water. So here we are, water, and then I'm going to put in the hydro. So the hydro is a little tricky. I'm going to put the water down. I recommend, it's very, very fine powder, so I really recommend cutting across the top, as close to the top as you can, instead of here, because it just takes a longer time for it to shake out. And I'd rather you just shake it out more quickly. So you can see what I'm doing here. Cut right along the seam here, and then take this little edge off. And then what I do is I open it out, make sure that everything's cut and open, and then pile everything, like scoot everything down to one corner, and then just pour it in, just like this. You can see the fine powder kind of goes a little bit off in the wind, so that's why I'm trying to reduce how much shaking we do, so that it's just less stuff in the air. Okay, so you stir that up, it dissolves a little quicker, and then I'm going to put it straight over here and there. And then the third bit is going to be the indigo. So I will grab some more warm water. It doesn't have to be, I actually recommend it's not boiling hot. I would say just like warm water, 180 degrees, not boiling. And from here, I will open up the indigo and just pour it in. Isn't that cool looking? It's like this kind of blue-green. It's really beautiful. And then here is what it looks like. It's kind of got a coppery top in there. We'll see it better actually in the tub. And this one you want to not stir so quickly because you don't want to actually add too much oxygen in there. So I'm just kind of stirring gently. But it is good that the water is warm because it's dissolving a little quicker. Okay, so then I will pour this in. This is kind of where the magic happens, so I'm gonna get in close here, but it's so beautiful. And so you can see this coppery, you want to see that coppery film on top. That's just a little byproduct, and you can see the green, which is really beautiful. So what I'm going to do now is use my spoon and stir this a little bit, and then I'm going to let it just sit. Isn't that really pretty? Just going to let this sit for, I would say, about 10-15 minutes. So it's been about 15 minutes, and I moved the vat so you could see it in the sunlight a little bit under this dappled light. And it's basically a really beautiful, there's a really beautiful coppery film on top, which is a byproduct, and then there's this really beautiful kind of green color. I don't know if you can see that. It is a little green and translucent, and that's exactly what you want to have. So this is ready to go. So very exciting. This is the first dip into indigo. What you're doing is you're layering blue on top of blue. So you're layering, the first dip will be a light blue, and then the second dip will be layered on top of that, another layer of blue, and so on and so on. So to get a dark navy, it takes quite a few layers. So right now, I'm going to just go ahead and put this in there. This has been soaking for about 15, or actually half an hour at this point. You can see as it goes in, it's a little bit green, and that's exactly what you want. And so what happens is, when the indigo actually hits the surface of the air, the surface of the water and air, it starts to oxidize, and that is when it starts to turn blue. So what you want to do is just make sure you've got everything under the surface of the water. And also make sure that you don't introduce a lot more oxygen by, don't have excessive dripping in there. Don't try to move and stir the bucket too quickly. You want to move just very slowly and gently with the indigo. Okay, so here we go. And this is one that's an off-white that I tied in an origami pattern. Okay, we're just going to let those, push those down a little bit. You'll see some air bubbles coming up. This is all oxygen that's being released and coming up to the surface. So we want to see how slowly I'm moving. This is the best way to move within the vat. So we'll let that sit, and you can, then I'm going to put this last piece in. So this last piece is intentionally clipped to the side. This is actually a piece I want to just demo to you. So it's actually dry here and then wet down here. So it's going to be a really beautiful pattern. What's going to happen is the indigo will soak in and then start wicking up, and you'll start to see this kind of unusual, unpredictable pattern where the fabric is dry. So I'm putting it in right here. I'm going to clip it. These edges will never go into the indigo. This is a great pattern for a t-shirt or something like that. If you do get some edges in there like that, that's completely fine. Okay, so we're going to put a timer in here for 15 minutes and come back. Okay, we're back after 15 minutes and my gloves on. If you're in your apartment, you just want to be, make sure you've got a tarp out down on the floor, because it will stain your floor for a little bit. With some scrubbing, you can get the stuff up, but it's more fun not to have to worry about it. So look at this. Basically, it's green, which means that the indigo has stuck to the fabric, it's bound to the fabric, and it will oxidize right before your eyes. This is one of the most fun parts about indigo. And I'm just going to put it right here on this rack. So I'm just carefully squeezing, moving very slowly in the vat. And then here's how green it is, and that amazing. So then you can see it start to turn blue right before your eyes. So what you want to do is just open up these folds that are happening. Just see something like this that's stuck. Just open that out so that everything that's light green turns to dark green and then eventually blue before you put it back in the vat. If you don't do this, then you will have this marking as a lighter blue, and you may or may not be that satisfied with it. So I recommend opening out all the folds that you can. You can see already it's shifting to this darker green, and it's going to shift eventually to blue. So just keep opening the folds, and then you can just put the piece down on your drying rack. This is where the spoon comes in handy here to kind of fish stuff out. I've got one more piece. This is almost chartreuse yellow, and see how slowly I'm just kind of gently squeezing this out. So I'm going to put this, so here you go, this is what this looks like. And then I'm putting this down on the rack as well. Okay, so that's that. And then this is the one that I want to, the last piece, which is the fourth piece, I want it to stay relatively white, so I'm taking off the clips. This is the dry part, and I'm pulling it out, and you can see how it's wicking up here, and a lot of this excess kind of byproduct will wash off. So we're just going to wait until all of the stuff turns blue. So you want to make sure to open that up. You can see that the dye didn't get in here, so if we help it for the next dip, just like opening these folds, it really helps to make sure you've got kind of more even coverage. So just open this to the air, expose it, and let it turn even as possible. See all that? So this is all stuff that needs to be exposed. So I'm just actually going to put it on the rack just like this. All right, I'm back. So what we were doing was waiting for the first dip to turn blue instead of green, from blue to green. So I mean green to blue, sorry. So now it's nice and blue. So what we're gonna do is put it back in for another dip. So I've got these three pieces, nice and blue. We opened up the folds. You can see this? Okay. Okay, we're back. So basically now is the time for me to open up these bundles, and this is the most fun, the most messy, but also the most fun. So what you want to do is pull out your pieces and give them a really gentle squeeze, just like this, you know, and then I'm going to put them each back on the rack and let them sit there until I get everything out. Okay, and it should be nice and green. As you can see, it's a deeper green. It's not a bright, light green. So I'll show you exactly what I'm doing here. So basically, I am going to cut, get the scissors under there. I usually don't use gloves, so. And then just give a little snip. Make sure you don't catch the garment or piece that you're dyeing, because that is really frustrating when you work so hard to create these designs and then suddenly you cut a hole into the middle of it, which I have done. It's really not fun. So, and then, you know, again, as you see my hands getting a little bit blue, just with a little bit of scrubbing, the dye will come off your hands. Don't worry about that. You can also wear those gloves if you want. Okay, so here we go, the first reveal. So there's a chopstick in there. I'm gonna fish that out. And show you what we have. That's really cool. So basically what happens is it had a lot of folds and it didn't go around the perimeter, but that's completely fine, because what you can do is, if you like it, you can keep it like this. You can also tie it up again and just make sure you kind of get the dye over to this part of it as well. But I do like to kind of like sit with these new ones and just see if I feel like I want to work with it some more or not. It's kind of a... Okay, so this is a shirt that I did, and so I'm going to let this one just even out with the the green will turn blue, and the green will actually be light blue, so that'll be really interesting. It's like an origami style one, and then there's this one. This should be fun. So this one is a handkerchief that I did, and here I am, just it's pretty cool.